Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Writing Life. I'm Stephen W. Long. And, I was thinking we try to cover all aspects of writing. And one of those that I think is a little bit of a detour maybe from the mainstream, or at least what I would be used to, is screenwriting. So I'm so happy to have Roman Martinez with us today. And we're going to learn all kinds of stuff about screenwriting and adaptation and so on. So welcome, Roman.
Well, thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah. And I guess to segue from at least my take on screenwriting, what brought you there? What was attractive about screenwriting as opposed to poetry or something?
Simply put, just the idea that what I'm writing here on this keyboard is going to be turned into visual images in a few months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the little bit I know about it, the approach to that is really different because you're thinking in pictures, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking in a sense where, if you're coming up with a scene, you're just maybe writing just a simple paragraph for a scene, and then as you're writing it, the dialogue, you're thinking about the camera angles on, how the actors are going to be portrayed, what's going to be the best angles for them,
Okay.
and yeah.
So it's really, I would think, if you're writing fiction, that is playing out in your head, but you're going a step further. You're anticipating, because the audience can't see everything, so it's the camera.
Right.
It's the camera angle.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kind of to segue off of that, I wrote a novel for 2 years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
called The Wickedness. It didn't get published,
Okay.
but when you're writing a novel, you're just kind of like, you can go crazy and do everything you want with
Right.
it. Whereas when you're screenwriting, it's much more streamlining. It's almost like a shopping list in a way, kind of just these directions.
Well, I was going to comment on that because I've heard both approaches, and that is that some directors like direction in the script, and others don't because they say, no, that's my job. I'm going to decide, kind of maybe not what the background looks like, but don't tell me too much because I'm going to bring my vision to that. Do you have a preference or an approach that you like to do?
I've only worked on one film before where I've actually adapted someone else's
Okay.
script, where it was Alien Photographs by Teresa Huggins.
Okay.
Most of the time I've done my own screenwriting. So it's kind of like I'm purposely leaving things out of the script and just making it very basic.
Okay.
So because I know sometimes I'm not going to know what I want until I actually get there when we're shooting
all right.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will ask the screenwriter, like Teresa, I was like saying, well, what's the background? How do you want this portrayed? What do you see? What's your vision?
Okay. I had a writing class, a creative writing class, and the fellow teaching it, he was a guest speaker, was in fact a screenwriter. So he was talking about that he thought it was harder what we were doing. I don't think he's right, they're just different. But he said, if I have somebody at the window watching for a car, and then I want him in the kitchen, we cut and he's in the kitchen. You got to get him there.
Right.
As a fiction writer.
Right.
But I think, and I just thought of this minute, as the screenwriter, you want to avoid being choppy. You don't just want, a series of scenes.
Right.
So you're thinking that through as well.
Right. But what I learned though when I was initially starting to do short films was I was shooting every single thing, like opening a door would take like a minute,
Right.
versus really it's just simple, just open the door, shut of the door opening, actor comes through, or
Right.
even just cutting through that and just showing a door opening with an actor going through.
Right.
Like you said, like I was used to just writing just all this detail,
Yeah.
and shooting in detail as well.
Well, one of my teachers, my writing teacher, called that left foot, right foot. In other words, when you're writing, even in fiction, even though you've got the space, it's not, you don't want to plod along and let the, because it's not really important. Let the reader visualize that or fill in the blanks or something, and I guess that's what makes style, is where do you draw that line?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, I know that you worked on a film that was done locally, Do Unto Others.
Do unto others, yeah.
And Caroline, can we show some of that and This was an interview that you did with Caroline O'Brien, I think, that we're going to show.
For the behind. I don't have a formal education in cinematography, but what I do have is a lot of trial and error. Hi, I'm Roman. I'm the cinematographer and camera person on Do Unto Others, made by the Saturday Film Club for McMinnville Community Media. The challenges, I think, when I look at what I'm shooting is how am I going to set this up? How is this going to look in my mind's eye? And I followed pretty much everything that the director said, because I wasn't directing. I was basically doing camera and lighting, and I was kind of giving my input to Cameron on my ideas of how certain things could be framed, and Cameron was pretty open to that. The challenge is, I would say, was just kind of getting the flow of the camera work, just making sure that everything was, because we were going to try to kind of roll the camera around and get like nonstop, and it was very challenging, I felt, to be able to do that. So we kind of focused on just, I think one camera focusing on this actor, one camera focusing on that actor. Challenges were just kind of dedicating yourself, committing to it, every single little shot. And what I really appreciated from the actors was the fact that they knew all of their lines.
Why treat him then? If they're going to lock him up here where he can't hurt anybody, why can't they just let him be?
We didn't, if there were any hiccups, if there were, okay, we got to redo that, it was all on us on the technical side. It wasn't, oh, I flubbed the line. That really helps. Doing out of the studio was challenging because it was just kind of getting, again, that flow of the camera work. I'm supposed to be running up to the actress, and we had to do that several times because I didn't trust that was going to look good. I felt it was too slow, or I felt it was too fast, and I had to time it with Cameron because he was the killer, of him putting his arm, around me to look like he was having the knife, So, and then doing the car scenes too, I was worried about, the camera being shaky and, not working out well. I knew that we were going to do the POV shots whenever we dealt with the actress and the little girl. But part of me was thinking, I still hadn't gotten it in my head, even when we were shooting in the house, of, oh, every single shot is going to be POV. It's going to be POV from the killer's point of view. It's going to be POV from the actress. And I think, again, like I'm looking around the house, oh, that would be a great shot. No, it has to be POV. So it was just kind of committing and being strict about that. And it was awkward. It was definitely awkward shooting that way because I kind of had to trust that it was going to work out. When I'm sticking the camera and I can't really be there to look in the visor really well, and I have to make sure that I'm the actress and I'm following her around, I just have to trust that Cameron likes it, that Cameron likes it. And then, of course, Kyle, the editor, can, make it look good.
Okay. Well, that prompts a couple of things. Before we started recording here, I asked you about the difference between a cameraman and the cinematographer, which I didn't see that, but it was explained. To take, I guess, a step further going toward the management of this, some of the things that you talk about as a cinematographer, I would have thought that is the director. Is there that separation in this film or in this size of film because it's small? Or would this be typical in a Hollywood film? Would that separation be those same things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why maybe it takes an entire day to shoot one scene.
Okay.
Versus when you're doing something independent, you're there for a few hours. When you're like me, I've had to do my own lighting, cinematography, one-man band, so I've had to take on other positions. When you're doing it on a big Hollywood film, you just say, I need it, kind of simply put, I need it lit this way. And the cinematographer will take hours just, planning it out and, putting it all together for maybe just even one shot, not even just one scene. So with something like this, it was just kind of like very basic, just how are we going to make this look good and presentable on camera. And
Yeah, you know, I was thinking that that's very artistic, though. I think you have to have an artistic sense to do that.
yeah.
Because if the light's in your face, there's a mood, and if the light's behind you, it's a different mood.
Right.
Yeah. So, how did you learn that?
I started experimenting with lighting on Be a Clown, which was a little short film I did back in 2014.
Yeah.
It was a little like horror film. I just started using like colored light bulbs, red and green, and playing with it because I wanted that kind of style in the film.
Right.
You know, I didn't want it to look utilitarian, like, okay, we just need to light the actors up.
Right.
And then I did a sequel called Love a Clown, and I started experimenting with gels and with lighting. You know, we had the light kit from McMinnville Community Media and playing around with it.
Huh.
So that's how I was kind of experimenting with it. Was like and Love a Clown, I would say, was my most cinematography
Right.
heavy film I've done, just because it was. I took a lot of time, you know, doing the lighting on that, you know, and experimenting.
I think, well, I could ask this two different ways.
Sure.
So I'll put it back on you. Having done what you've done and being sort of behind the scenes, now when you watch a movie, are you dissecting it? Or can you just watch a movie?
I do both.
Okay.
I mean, I'm entertained by it. One of my favorite films of all time is John Carpenter's Halloween
Oh,
from
okay.
1978. The cinematographer on it is named Dean Cundy. And I mean, one of the most striking aspects of that film, it's just a simple little horror film, but the lighting on it is just so beautiful. You know, the oranges that they use, the blues that they use on it. And I knew at some point in the future, if I ever, you know, do filmmaking, I want it to like be like a feast for the eyes. Like you're just looking at it, it's like, you know, this is really, I just can't stop watching this. You know?
Yeah. I've seen things. I think television has gotten so much better than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But you'll see, or I will see something that is maybe high contrast. You know, and that has a different feel, and or it's more lush or whatever. And I know I wouldn't know how to reproduce that, but I can appreciate that somebody has done that for an effect. And it reminds me of maybe a music, background music. Sometimes we don't even know it's there, really. I mean, you're not, as the observer, you're not really conscious of that. And I think with you, I mean, you are conscious. You did that on purpose. But I think sometimes the audience would just know that they were drawn in.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know why, but they just know they were.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes the best work is just where it's just an experience rather than something that you're just paying attention to every minute detail.
Right.
And of course, there's some films also that just have that very deliberate look to it, like The Shining or Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is a beautiful film I recommend.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
And what is it about that? I don't know that film.
Oh, about Beyond the Black
Yeah.
Rainbow. Oh, well, it takes place in an institution, and
Okay.
they set it up in like 1983. It's a modern film. In 2010, it was made, but just the look of it, you feel like they manipulated the film a certain way. It's like this really looks like it was comes from like the early 80s.
Okay.
Just the lighting and the starkness of the sets and kind of the sterile look and the
Yeah.
furniture, everything. And you just get that feel, and you can't even explain why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, would that be, in a film like that, is that the cinematographer? Or you talk about the set? I mean, somebody else does that, right?
Right.
Yeah. And there must be a tremendous collaboration between, hey, I want to put this desk here, and then the cinematographer says, you know, that's going to cast a shadow, or I don't know, whatever you would come up with.
It felt very director heavy, that
Okay.
film. Like that director had a deliberate vision.
Okay.
Although the lighting, you know, I can't say who came up with what, but it had that deliberate feel to it. Like this is a vision that's you're viewing here.
I think it's interesting that as people, we are drawn to maybe an aspect of something. So, you know, broadly writing, and then more narrowly screenwriting, and then more narrowly yet the lighting of that scene. And I don't know. I guess we're just born with that. I guess maybe that's what aptitude is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my other, when we were watching the little clip there, I was thinking about POV. And as a fiction writer, POV is real important, and you can pick, you know, it's omniscient or third person or whatever. And I don't know that most readers pay attention to that. I do. But when I'm watching a film, and I'll drive my wife crazy, I'll say, oh, that's a POV shot. And I think I'm right, but I don't even know why I know that. So talk a little bit about POV, what is it, and then when do you use it? So in your film, you didn't, what I would call third person, in other words, not a POV shot, just out there. You didn't do that at all.
We did that for the first part of the
Okay.
of Do Unto Others, where it was the two actors, Ken Moore and Baron McCloskey, when we were shooting them and Cameron Nye as well in the hospital set room.
Okay.
And then Cameron has the virtual reality goggles put on him.
Okay.
And that's where it flashes into the scene with Evan Goldsmith, where she's being attacked.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be all from, like, Cameron's character is a murderer, and he's having a virtual reality experience. So every single thing was like, it was switching between his point of view, the killer's point of view, the victim's point of view, the little girl's point of view.
Oh boy.
And again, like, yeah, when I had said the challenges of doing that was because, again, I'm viewing it like a traditional film. I'd never done anything like that was like first person before, where it was just like from that person's point of view.
Right.
So it was tricky, like I said, doing that camera, just kind of having to, program it in my mind, like, okay, this is the way it's done, be disciplined, and then also having to figure out how we're going to hold the camera.
How do you do it?
Yeah, how do we do it? And it looks, and how do we do it well, where it looks good too.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I think of a POV shot, I'm thinking the protagonist is walking down by the lakeside, and the shot is, you can tell, is through a bush because there are the leaves around it, or the branches.
Yeah.
And so I would think that the purpose of that is to evoke some kind of unease. I'm being spied on. I think probably different in what you did, maybe. In other words, we know who it is. We know whose eyes we're seeing this through, and so I think we're supposed to feel what they feel. Maybe is that kind of why you do what you do?
Yeah, you're trying to get and do unto others where kind of, well, it's not just for the audience, but also for the character too, because he was supposed to be experiencing not just himself as the killer, but also the victim's point of view, which was kind of the whole framing aspect of the story.
He sees this with the virtual reality glasses on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's an empathetic. I guess he's sort of feeling their pain or their terror or something.
Yeah, he's thrust into those people's, experiences of
Yeah.
what he's done to them.
That seems very innovative.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
It's what attracted me to it, because I loved how the first part of the film was very much like a play. It was very much like a Twilight Zone, black and white episode. But then we had this other style that was introduced into it, a very modern kind of idea. So it played around with a couple different styles, and that appealed to me.
As the cinematographer, you read the script, and then before you started anything, did you kind of lay out, this is going to be a broader shot, and this is going to be a POV shot? Or did you just have that sense?
I let the director, Cameron
Okay.
Nye, because he was also the director, I pretty much let him kind of, it was interesting because that's the first time I've kind of just, done like a crew member job. I've never really, I've done PA work before, but I just let Cameron say, okay, this is what we're going to have, this is what I want.
Okay.
Rather than kind of like have this idea in my mind's eye, like, okay, we're going to. Plus, as a director too, I'm kind of on the spot too. I kind of create it as I go along.
Yeah.
My latest film that I shot this summer called Ophelia, I would just get into the environment, the location. I was, okay, give me 10 or 15 minutes. I have to plan this out where the camera's going to be. Yeah.
I'm thinking of Shakespeare in Love.
Uh-huh.
And you've seen that, I guess?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Isn't there a sort of a recurring line? Somebody will say, well, how does this happen? And the answer is, I don't know, it's a mystery. But it's like organic. So you're there and you go, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
I mean, you can't, unless you know intimately the location that you're working on, you can't, it's difficult to kind of plan all of that out, and again, it's just the amount of time too that I have, because it's,
Sure.
Literally we had like 2 months, and I had maybe 4 to 6 hours each shooting time, and there was a lot to. I was joking because I've done theater before. I said, we're on the set right now. It's literally, we're putting rehearsal, blocking, which is where the actors are going to be.
Right.
We're doing the tech rehearsal, and we're doing live performance, all in the span of 4 to 6 hours,
Right.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
It's the entire theater production period into one afternoon.
Right. I talked to Bob Zahniser, who wrote the original on that. Now, I don't think he wrote the screenplay. Did you do that?
What for doing?
Did he write the screenplay as well? Because he originally wrote it as a play,
Yeah.
a stage play.
Yeah, and then he wrote the.
But
the
he
script.
did the adaptation himself. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that he commented to me was he'd never seen such collaboration. That people working together from their disparate areas and really getting along and really working together, and he was so impressed with that.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It really is, especially like I've learned, because my earlier productions, it was all just me pretty much doing everything.
Yeah.
And finally I got the wise idea of like, oh, ask my friends,
Yeah.
because they're good at what they do. Maybe it's makeup or whether it's sound,
Yeah.
just get them on and do it, and
Yeah.
it's a much better product that you're putting out,
Yeah. Caroline, can you do some of those images? Because and some of the makeup that you've done, yeah, there we go. In fact, do you want to just narrate the images here?
Oh yeah, that's my role as the narrator, criminologist from the Rocky Horror Show at
Okay.
Gallery Theater in 2012. That was a lot of fun. Love talking with the audience. That was Cinderella at Gallery Theater. Played Fifi Hardup, the ugly stepsister.
Fifi Hard.
A lot different than
Yeah.
than the earlier role. Love a Clown, which is a 30-minute short film I made from 2014 until 2017. That was the shooting period, and I played that in 2017. We screened it.
Okay.
Farm Report with Greta Goslin, Ashley Kopp, and John Ashton. That was a comedy, like a short film sketch comedy that I did.
Really?
Yeah, it was tied with another short film I did called Weekly Wines with Gwendolyn, and it's kind of like a spin-off from
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Just
there's
with
John
the
Ashton
with
again.
the blood, I would have thought this was more of a horror, but you said no.
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. She's out at 5 a.m. doing the farm report. She hates her job, and he's a farmer, and he had just slaughtered a pig, and he just like scares them, the camera person and her, like in the morning.
Okay.
But he's a very nice guy.
Uh-huh.
In real life and as the character. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working on that. And then that's a music video that I did with the Seductive Three. Those are the members there.
Uh-huh.
My friend Ruben, who's on the far left there with the sunglasses, they're all wearing sunglasses. He asked me if I wanted to do a music video for them. He was involved in this little local hip hop group.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I want to do my first music video ever. That was, I ran the Chemeketa Filmmaking Club at the Yamhill campus, and that was our zombie makeup workshop
Okay.
that we had put together. We made about maybe 14 students up as zombies. We had 2 makeup artists.
Okay.
And
So were they learning to do makeup, or what was the purpose of the class?
the purpose was just as like a recruiting event to get more people out for the
Okay.
filmmaking club
Sure.
and to engage the students. So yeah, and I just kind of decided, okay, I'm going to take all this random footage of the students wandering around the campus and turn it into this little short film, like 4 minutes.
There's some makeup.
The makeup was brilliant on this. It's. I mean, we really had just a fun time. One of the students, he told me, he said like, boy, I was having a bad day that day, but when I had zombie makeup put on and I was wandering around, he says, oh, it just made it so much better. And I was like,
good.
oh, that feels so good. That feels so good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's not something you hear all the time.
No, it isn't.
A little
Yeah.
zombie makeup, and
Oh, yeah.
normally it's deep breathing, but
Yeah. And then that's our Roman Films
Right.
production logo that we filmed here at MCM. Those are all actors I've worked with. That gentleman there in the middle, he was actually in the music video.
oh,
And then that's Evelyn over there on the left, she was the clown in Love a Clown.
Okay.
Ashley Kopp again, Hillary Kirk over on the far right,
Sure.
and Rebecca Laporte down there. It was just kind of an idea of just that, like this cheesy idea of like, a Roman gladiator, kind of classic 1950s style.
Sure.
And then just kind of that macho element,
Uh-huh.
epic macho kind of feel.
All those are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do this? Is this your gig? Is this full time or?
I mean, I have a full-time job. This is my creative outlet.
Okay.
Recently, I was in school for a few years, got my degree in psychology, and I decided this year I'm going to get back into filmmaking.
Oh, good.
Do Unto Others was a great springboard because it got me back into the flow of it.
Right.
And the first film that I started shooting was a script that I just put together in the span of a month called Ophelia.
Okay.
It's about a couple that breaks up and the boyfriend tries to get back with his ex-girlfriend again. And a company contacts him and says, hey, we found a way to get your ex-girlfriend back and also that you're going to be in love with each other like when you first met. But there's a twist to it. There's a little dark twist to it.
Okay, which we have to watch the movie? Or?
Yeah, you'll have to watch the
Okay.
movie. I spoil the twist. I've been doing that for
Yeah.
a while, and I'm like, I gotta get
Stop it,
disciplined.
yeah.
Stop spitting out the words to that. Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun. Now, what else are you working on?
So we have one more shooting day left for Ophelia. The next project I'm doing is a project called The P Word. It's going to have a puppet in it. It's about a couple on a date, and the woman on the date and everybody in the restaurant is accepting of the fact that there's a puppet waiter. But the guy on the date, he's like, "This is crazy. This is absurd. There's a puppet here. Am I on candid camera or something?"
Right.
So it deals with that, and then there's a little bit of kind of social commentary in it as well.
Oh, well, it sounds like a great setup.
Thank you. It's kind of dealing with kind of new norms that are introduced. So the puppet is kind of the new protected class.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it riffs on that. And then I have another project. I just spoke with the main actor yesterday for a new film that we're going to be shooting next spring, another short film, and then there's another project ahead. So it's just, this is the first time that I've really, really been getting myself into big projects, just one after the other.
So for people like us, how could we see these? Are they screened locally or?
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right.
I did screen Love a Clown along with Farm Report with Greta Gosselin and several other short films I did at the Northern Lights Theater Pub in 2017. I want to do another event like that 1 year from now.
Okay.
So Ophelia, The P Word, all these other short films put together for like a 2-hour programming block.
Nice.
I want to do it for the people involved because I want to give them a chance to see themselves on the big screen.
Sure.
An audience, the public. And then I put some of it on my own YouTube channel, on my Roman Martinez YouTube channel.
Oh, okay, great.
But the more intense productions I'm saving to put hopefully in the future streaming or website for, because I want people to kind of, I want the value, I want these films to be valued because so many people worked so hard on these.
Yeah.
And it's not, to me, it's not worth it just putting it on YouTube for like 50 views,
Yeah, and boy, I don't know, but I think I'm right that people have really gotten a start on YouTube. Yeah, so that it's really more than 50 views.
Yeah, well, I've learned too that what I plan on doing is creating more content for Roman films,
Right.
digging into the archives of my films, doing like little interviews. That's really, I think, the magic of it is just continuously producing content so people you develop that audience, build that audience in that way.
Well, it sounds terrific. And do we have, I don't think we do have time. I was going to ask you about the difficulty or the challenges of adapting work. We don't have time, so can you come back and we'll do it
I'd
some
love
other
to.
time?
Yeah, I'd
All
love
right.
to. Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you so much. I love learning about this. I mean, I think we all love to watch film, but it's neat to see kind of the other side of it.
The inner workings of it.
The inner workings.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
well,
right.
thanks for having me here.
All
I
right,
really
Roman.
appreciate
Thank
sharing with you.
All right, folks, that's it for this time. Roman Martinez, thank you. And just tune in again. Watch us on The Writing Life. I'm Stephen W. Long. I'm I'm so lonely, write to me at my website, stevenwlong.com, and that's it. We'll see you. Thanks.
Thank
What do you think? We done?
I don't know, you guys wanna do one just with yourself without me doing the
They think we're done, if they got enough, they got enough.
They got enough? Probably, okay, sounds good.
Let's go lunch.
Oh.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just bite too.